The city centres are lovely. The Spanish really made a nice job of them when times were good and slavery was bad. The tired state of decrepitude of the old buildings is mirrored in the lumbering, awe-inspiring American pre-revolution cars.
Dame tu amor, Guantanamera, Guantanamera, dame tu amor.
The 40-year-old American dinosaurs still prowl the streets, but these cars spend more time parked than in use because of their fuel consumption.
Cantó una noche de fiesta, el que nunca te besó. Yo soy aquel que gritó, divina Guantanamera, que te entregó el alma entera, el que nunca te abrazó.
Dame tu amor, Guantanamera.
Due to the petrol shortages since the withdrawal of Russian aid, public transport is few and far between. As befits a socialist economy, everyone pulls together to alleviate the difficult circumstances. Supervised hitching spots are set up and manned outside each town and at main junctions. You tell the man in charge, who's dressed in yellow, where you're going, and then join the queue. It's his job to mediate between the travellers and the drivers of all and sundry vehicles that stop to pick people up. Why does Castro give us such a hard time? We've nothing. No hay agua, no hay luz, no hay jabón, no hay nada, says Senora Martinez, a competent housewife from Camagüey, stretched to the limit to put food on the table. She complains softly. She tells me there are people in every neighbourhood who report people to authorities, who criticise the government, or who spend a lot of time talking to foreigners. I met her through one of the jiniteros, gold diggers, who initially strike up conversations with tourists and then try to sponge money off them by offering black market goods or a trip to the local cigar factory or a favourable exchange rate for your dollars. Some encourage you to buy things for them at the hard currency shops. In the end, I did buy my jinitero friend Lazaro a present of a shirt. He had shown me the cigar factory. He had shown me a few other museums. I got to meet a lot of his friends, including breakdancers, born-again Christians, a failed political escapee. Twice he tried to get to Disney World, Florida, without permission. An exiled Ecuadorian who was studying medicine, a grandmother who had recently visited her son in Las Vegas. Elderly people are allowed to visit relatives abroad. A fellow who did wheelies on his bike, and a frustrated artist who lost his university lecturing position. He was the father of the Mickey Mouse fan. I could feel a smothered resentment in all these people, but they were too busy living their everyday lives to try to look for change in government. local restaurants are hard to find open. Well, when they're open, they're quite easy to find because of the queues. I've gone to a few, and the fare on offer is interesting and sometimes even tasty. I still remember the hamburger I got in Santiago. I didn't know it was to be a hamburger. I just joined the queue and was eventually seated with 3 others at a table. First, we were all presented with a glass of mint-flavoured water. Then came the main course, presented on a battered old tin plate. I immediately noticed that my fare departed from the McDonald's norm. There was no sauce, not a bad thing when I have. Neither were there onions, lettuce, or any other embellishments, such as cheese or salt. In fact, on closer observation, I noticed that the hamburger was entirely bereft of bread. It was just a thin, circular slab of lukewarm, meat-coloured substance. Another example of making ends meet.
Hasta el mismísimo nombre, mi tierra linda, porque te quiero, yo a ti te canto mi son entero, mi tierra linda, porque te quiero, yo a ti te canto mi son entero.
Appropriately enough, I've been learning a lot about the history of Cuba. They've had about as many risings and fallings as the Irish, and are fiercely proud of their hard-won independence, not just from the Spanish, but from subsequent dictators, multinationals, and the Americans. The Americans were especially miffed by the events of the late 50s and the early 60s. There was revolution, appropriation of US assets, socialism, and the tango with Russia, and have relentlessly applied economic pressure to ruin the country. Instead of Russian missiles, all that remain of the Eastern Bloc are characterless Ladas and Hungarian bridges. The benefits brought by the 30 years of socialism, despite the economic hardships and restrictions on personal freedom, Cuban people have, on the whole, remained buoyant, energetic, and resilient. I came across the frenetic beat of a percussion band in the street one night. People were practicing dance steps for the upcoming parades commemorating the revolution. I could hardly see my hand in front of my face. They were dancing and playing away in the darkness of yet another power cut. All the best.
Infinito y negro de mis penas.